So you've arrived at this video, and probably because you have questions, and the questions relate to how to do architectural plan takeoffs. So this video will be an introduction into what that means. Now it's a very big topic, so we might have to cover it in a few videos, but the question is, how do we do a takeoff, and what is a takeoff made up of? And also, why do we do a takeoff? Well, we do a takeoff to arrive at a bill of quantities. Now the bill of quantities is going to help us in two ways. One is that it's going to help us to cost a job because we're bidding, tendering, quoting, and we want to get the job. The other is once we've got the job, then we want to run it, and we want to know what we're purchasing and we're organising. To arrive at a bill of quantities, we're going to need to arrive at the bill of materials and the bill of labour. Now it makes sense that you can't do the bill of labour without the bill of materials. So to arrive at the bill of materials, we also need two parts, and that is the quantity of the materials that we're installing and the cost of those materials. We're principally interested when we're doing a takeoff in the quantity of the materials. That's what we're trying to determine. So the question becomes, how do we do a planned takeoff to arrive at this bill of materials, or in particular the quantities? Well, you have three choices in doing this. The first choice is you could contact your merchant and see if they'll do a free takeoff. Now the problem is it's a free takeoff, so you're taking a risk. The second choice is you outsource it and you pay someone like a quantity surveyor to do a more detailed and thorough takeoff, one that you could rely on. And possibly you do it yourself anyway, just so you can check the others' takeoffs alongside of your own. However, whichever way you try to do it, you're just trying to arrive at the bill of materials. So how do we go about this? Well, the old school way was to print the plans, 4-column paper, and actually start to write it up and add it up on paper. Or you might do the takeoff off the plans on paper, but then transfer it through into some piece of software that you do the estimation in. Another option is you go out and source some software that helps you to do it on screen and digitally. Now the reason you do this is because it's more detailed, and once you're good at it, it's a lot faster, and you can also transfer that information into other software more easily for doing things like your estimation and your accounts. To help you understand how the software works, I'm just going to demonstrate using one of these, and the one I'm going to choose to do this is called Bluebeam. So what you see here is the PDF plans being put into the software. You can see the dimensions and the scaling's already done, and if you zoom in you can see more detail. What's really interesting is up here you see under measure is a set of tools that do various functions. You also see them over the right here. Now what those tools do is it allows you to do length measurement, poly length, so that's click 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 around a surface, to do perimeter, to do area, to do volume, to do a cutout, to do a dynamic fill, which is like pouring a big painted pot onto a surface and seeing how it fills out the edges, to do counting, diameter, angle, where you might be looking for pitch or angle, and also radius. Now those tools allow you to do some measurements, and you can use those measurements. So if we move into the plans here, I'll just zoom in there, and I take that area tool there, and then I go here and I go, see how it's got a little plus, and I hover out and I go across the room, and bang, there we have it, the carpet, which is also added to the other carpet area, and I can do it room by room. I can do walls, floor, area, skirting, whatever I like to arrive at my bill of materials. Now software like this is actually very easy to use, and it's not too hard to learn. The other interesting thing is if you learn one of these pieces of software, you're going to find the others are pretty universal. They have very similar tools as well. It's a bit like driving one model of car and then driving another. They have a lot of similarities. So using software like this shouldn't be an obstacle to you, no matter what your age, your intellect. If you've got a computer, you should be able to use this. It only comes down to how sophisticated and complex you want it to be. If you overly simplify the learning, then you're going to find that the transient benefits aren't there either. So you want something that's actually reasonably comprehensive. Let me go back to the screen we had on the software. So all of these pieces of software do something very well. Some of them will do takeoffs a lot better than others, and some will provide downstream benefits better than others. Some are cheaper, some are more expensive, some are hard to learn, some are not so hard to learn. So what I plan on doing over time is demonstrating each of these pieces of software to you. So all you have to do is subscribe, and every time I review one, you'll get notification. Let's move on. So when you finish doing the takeoff, you're going to end up with some sort of graphical representation and a set of data and numbers. And that data and numbers will move forward to be your estimation. Some people move the estimation stage through into something like Microsoft Excel. So here's an elaborate Builders Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. So the data in here has got the quantity and the cost, and if you look across the top here, you'll see things like descriptions and sums and totals, and you've got labour, materials, plant, subcontractors and overheads. So this is a reasonably comprehensive spreadsheet, and it does take some learning and management to use Excel to this degree. What you're really trying to do though is quite simple. So if you look across at those headers, you can see these are the numbers I'm trying to accumulate so that I can quantify and cost those items. So then we end up with multiple spreadsheets covering all the different bits of our scenario, and then probably a summary sheet that we'll use to get the data out of and make up our contract offering. But quite often this data does not get transferred down into other systems that are used once you've costed the job. And to overcome this, people tend to choose specialised software that helps you to do the estimation, software like this. And what we have is the graphical information has gone through into a very elaborate system that does a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of automation in the pricing, and it allows you to see many options quickly. But it takes some building up this sort of data to get to the point where it's saving you a lot of time. So these options have a lot of benefit, but really if we're doing the takeoff, we're trying to move it forward into something to do our estimation. So this takes me back to our original point. What you want to do to arrive at the right price and run the job properly is have a takeoff, and from that takeoff you're trying to find the quantity of the materials. In summary, this is a very big topic and I intend doing a lot of videos on it. If you'd like to see those videos, then please subscribe and you'll get the notifications. And if you know anyone else who would benefit from this, make sure that you go and share this lesson so that they can start to see the benefits of doing takeoffs as well. Thank you. I'm Lester, the Cost Engineer. If you want to know more, here are all the buttons and resources that you need. Just use these links to go places. Don't forget to share this video with friends who you think might need this video.